Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Legendary Sports Podcast, Fantasy Football Edition. I am Jared Michelson,
And I am Antoine Beeks Jr.
and we're doing a week 2 recap of the NFL games for, oh man, what was another seemingly disaster, I feel like, for a lot of
Oh,
stuff.
man. Yeah.
It's
Are you feeling like it's a disaster because your fantasy teams are doing bad? Or do you feel
some
like...
combination of these things are happening. Some combination. That with injuries, too. You know, some more big names that we'll go through here in a little bit when we hit those games. But I don't know. I feel like it's been some sloppy football all around. I feel like the studs that we thought were studs were not there. And the people who you wouldn't think are coming out, Puka or whatever, are coming out of nowhere. Like, I don't know what to expect from the NFL anymore. It used to be a little more predictable. Now I'm just randomly riding a roller coaster.
You know what? There's so many good players in the NFL these days that you just going to ride a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And speaking of good players, I'm going to start us here with the Minnesota Vikings and Philadelphia Eagles.
Classic legend Justin Jefferson.
We're talking about Justin Jefferson, man. He balled out here.
Classic.
He balled out. And I seen someone ask him, like, how did he feel about the ball not coming his way late in the game and stuff like that. Dude had 11 receptions for 159 yards. He balled out.
Did fumble. And a pretty critical fumble spot.
He did fumble. And, I mean, if we're just speaking on overall football, there was four.
Yeah,
was there 3 or 4 fumbles
I think
lost?
there's 3 different fumbles. But I'm just talking from a big name player, somebody that usually doesn't do that. It's more rare for Justin Jefferson to make that happen. But he still performed. He got over the fumble. Don't get me wrong. 11 for 159. Look, for fantasy, that's what you're looking for, man. That consistency.
Man, what you're looking for is some Kirk Cousins numbers. 31 for 44, 364 for a touchdown.
I should have started him over Justin Fields, man.
I try to tell you that Justin Fields was not the guy.
Hey,
did.
Guys. You did.
Even if you're in a 12-team league, sit Justin Fields. He has not proven anything
I'm going back
yet.
to the well. I'm going back to the well.
Sit Justin Fields. Baker Mayfield is better at this point.
Right now, he's playing better, absolutely. Other studs that were on the Vikings, Jordan Addison getting it done, 3 for 72 yards and 1 touchdown on 5 targets. TJ Hawkinson, 7 for 66, 2 touchdowns and 8 targets. They're getting to work. The main guys are getting to work out there. Yeah. And, if you picked up TJ Hawkinson later, 5th, 6th round, good for you. Good for you.
He is definitely TE1 this week. Let's talk about those Philly boys, man. They pulled out the win. Didn't look so good from Jalen Hurts, though. 18 for 23. I mean, he threw a good percentage, but he only had 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But DeAndre Swift with 28 carries, 175 on the ground.
This is the thing I'm talking about. Like
1 TD.
Where are these people coming from the woodwork? What's happening here?
He's balling. That's what happened.
Oh my
Devontae Smith for 4 receptions, 131, 1 TD.
He looks good though. He could be the number 1 here. Like he's taking the top off, going across the middle, doing the short drag route. He's got it all. Both AJ Brown and Devontae Smith can do it, but Devontae Smith is doing it. Yeah, he's actually living that out. So,
if you guys drafted Devontae Smith in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th,
and
good luck to you.
Going back to Hurts, the passing yards weren't great, but he did rush 2 in. So that's what you're looking for fantasy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he ran a whole mile to get there.
That's 12 straight points and 2 touchdowns. I'll take that. If you give me just 2 scores, give me 12 points to start me off, that's pretty darn good.
That was DeAndre Swift's touchdowns he was stealing.
Then it's just need to show up a little bit more to get those.
Yeah. Hey, man, so let's move on to the Buffalo Bills beatdown of the Oakland Raiders, man. Beat down. Josh Allen looked like Josh Allen a little bit, man. I was happy to see it. 31 for 37, 274, 3 TDs. I know you fantasy guys.
Yeah, you feel happy he bounced back. That's for sure.
I mean, because there are some performances that we'll get into that we're just like, we thought this guy was a guy. And Josh Allen definitely bounced back. The whole team bounced back. Mm-hmm. James Cook looked like what everybody was thinking that he was going to be.
Exactly. For a 6th round pick-ish, 7th round pick, that's...
Yeah.
If you're getting
17, 123.
Yeah, I'll take it at 7 yards of carry. Sheesh. Najee needs to take some lessons out here.
Hey, yo, we're not even talking about them, man. Chill.
We will be.
Hey, man, Gabe Davis looked like a number 2 today. 6 for 92 and 1 TD. I was kind of off of Gabe Davis last week.
You just don't know. He's boom or bust. That's the thing. That's his role. Is you don't know when he's gonna be the guy that hits, and you don't know when the wheels are gonna fall off, and you're gonna look for 3 for 32, and you're taking an L that week. So
I think Josh Allen needs to do a better job of being Josh Allen, as he was so shaky towards the end of last year, and then kind of to start this year. When Josh Allen's on, he can't throw every ball to Stephon Diggs. So when he's on, like he was today, you see Gabe Davis with a number 2 like wide receiver.
Tied for 7 targets.
Yeah, so a number 2 like wide receiver that he is, and he balled. So.
Yep. And Diggs still did his thing, 7 for 66. So if you're in PPR, you're still okay with that. And then don't forget Cook's. James Cook also got some catches in there, 4 for 36. So he's adding in the passing game as well, which is big. That's what you want from your RB1s. You just need some touchdowns, but the work is there.
He did his thing. Hey, look, I'm not gonna touch the Raiders. You can go ahead and have all at it. Go have at all it, man.
I don't know what they'll do from the running perspective. There's nothing to hang your head on there with Josh Jacobs, -2 yards, rushing on 9 carries.
Don't get up.
Zamir White at least got some work at 4 for 22, and Trey Tucker 1 carry. I don't even know who that is. Hi, Trey. Welcome to the league. I don't know.
Welcome to our fantasy podcast, brother.
Josh Jacobs did get some passing work, 5 for 51, but Devontae Adams is Devontae. He did leave injured, though, so you got to keep an eye on that. I believe he left with a
head injury, right?
Let's see here. Concussion. Yep, that's been kind of common. So, for today, I feel like there's been a lot of concussion injuries.
You know what? I think that they are so high strung on like doing different things with the concussion protocol that I think that some of these guys don't be concussed and they just take them out for the
can't go
caution.
Well, they got to make up for the Tua situation last year, right? Because that was a blunder on their end from the opposite side where they weren't taking any precautions, and there were visible signs of. Anyway, we can go to the soapbox, but visible signs of, hey man, this dude needs to be out of here.
I mean, he walked off the field. He looked fine to me when he walked off the field, but he is injured. He is down to questionable, so keep an eye out for that.
But he did put
Devontae
6
Adams.
for 84 in the tutty before being removed from the game, so you still like those numbers as far as getting that work from of him. So 20 plus fantasy points in that, so you'll take it. So those are your late round number 1, early number 2s, and those are the numbers that you look for.
So here we go on to the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wasn't great right away from this game as far as like the Ravens standpoint. Both teams were kind of rocky, but Lamar looked kind of off and lost, and the team just couldn't kind of put it together. But he figured it out later on, somewhere late in the second, going into the third, and that was able to get some work for Nelson Aguilar, which is a surprise out of nowhere at 5 for 63 and a touchdown. Zay Flowers again 4 for 62, still back on his. Mark Andrews 5:45 and a touchdown. Leading the targets for 8. And then you got Gus Edwards, who did what he's supposed to do, average over his classic 5 yards of carry, which he's known for his career, 10 for 62 and a touchdown. Question to you is he the guy? Is he going to be the one to run this? Because Justice Hill got 11 carries and Lamar took 12, which I don't know why Lamar felt entitled to take 12.
Because he's Lamar Jackson.
Stay healthy. Why did you getting hurt?
Because he's Lamar Jackson. He doesn't know how to throw a football. That's why.
Hey, 24, 33, 237, and 2. Not bad. I mean, you expect more yards, but there's no turnovers.
Remember we talked about
only 9 incompletions.
We talked about butts off the camera. Remember that. We talked about butts and how that could also be misleading. That he did this, but yeah. Right.
No, I said he started rocky though, but he did figure it out. The butts can go on the good side too.
Nah, he could have threw for more yards. I don't like. I mean, I'm just not a big fan of Lamar Jackson.
He ran for a few. He took some of those yards instead of throwing. He ran, which I'll take because they count for more. So,
going back to the question that you asked, is Gus Edwards the guy? I don't think that they're set on any one guy.
Or they're gonna rotate guys.
I think that they're just gonna rotate. Gotcha. I think that Gus Edwards gets the bulk of it. I think he gets it when it matters.
We lost by one here.
But I don't think he's necessarily the flat out guy, and then he's gonna take 8 of those carries, and Justice Hill's only gonna be left with 3.
Transition to who's not the guy. Jamar Chase, 5 for 31.
Hey man, you have that man.
Yeah. So let's get into some Bengals here, man. I mean, Tyler Boyd stepped up 8 for 89 and 2 touchdowns on 12 targets. He was the guy for this game. Tyler Boyd came.
Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins? That's T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, sorry.
T. Higgins balled out today.
Yeah, T. Higgins balled out. Sorry. Tyler Boyd was 6 of 52. T. Higgins was 8 of 89 for 2 touchdowns on 12 targets. Joe Mixon, also not the guy you're drafting late in the second or going early in the third, for 13 carries for 59 yards. And Joe Burrow, also not the guy. If you didn't like what you got out of Lamar Jackson, you like even less what you got out of Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and I'm a Joe Burrow fan, and here I am.
I'm both of their fans.
I'm a Joe Burrow fan, and I just have nothing to say, man. I mean,
they look bad.
Awful.
They look terrible.
Trash can.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Zach Taylor, you need to figure that out because your ship is sinking.
It's drowned.
Fast. Yeah, it's not good.
It's underwater.
Yeah.
It's undersea. And speaking of not looking the same, Kansas City Chiefs 17-9 over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, they are something different. I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs or who they think they are or thought they were, but they are just
not it.
Yeah. Oh, going back to the Ravens real quick, Odell did leave with an injury. Nelson Aguilar did step up. So just being aware of that. If you have Odell Beckham, maybe pick up Nelson Aguilar or something like that to fill the void. So
he did leave with a leg injury. Odell left with a leg injury. But the Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, man. Patrick Mahomes, 29 of 41. He is still slinging the pill.
Yep.
305, 2 TDs and 1 interception. I don't know the last time this guy's put together, back-to-back interception games.
I don't either. Even with Kelsey back, there's just some miscommunication between the receivers. I don't know if the receivers room is still figuring out how to play Mahomes-style football, but I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains with this version of the Kansas City Chiefs that we're seeing.
I mean, he did. I mean, God, he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I mean, he
10,
hit everybody
11,
under the sun trying to see
who
can actually catch the ball. That's what you do when you don't have somebody you trust. Is you just throw it everywhere to see if somebody will stick in somebody's hands.
I mean, Sky Moore did have a big play where he got loose for 54 yards.
Hey, good news is Kadarius Toney, 5 of 5, doesn't bounce off his hands this week.
Great. And then I wasn't a real big fan of him. I mean, he's 5 for 5 for 35 yards. He caught 35 yards, and then he was out there talking trash like he was doing something.
But if you look at all the numbers and you look at the the micro data underneath these, so Justin Watson and Sky Moore both had the highest yardage, 62 and 70, but they all came on one play. 34 of Justin Watson's yards came on one play. 54 of Sky Moore's 70 yards came on one play. It's over half their yards on one play. 34 for 62 for Sky Moore, one play. Or Justin Watson, one play, and Sky Moore, 54, 70, one play. So it's they didn't really get a lot of work after that.
They both had 3 catches. How much work after is it?
Well, that's the thing, that they're not getting the volume. That proves point, that they're not getting the volume, and the volume they are getting, they have to get a lucky shot to make something happen, right? So how much do you trust anybody other than Kelsey? And even that's a
stretch. I mean, how do you trust anybody on the Jacksonville Jaguars? Trevor Lawrence, 22 for 41 with 216 yards. I mean, that's
Christian Kirk showed up.
Yeah, Christian Kirk did show up. Surprising big day with 11 for 110 yards.
I'm not surprised. He's Gabriel Davis of that team. He's going to be the one that's going to be are you going to be up here, or are you just going to be the guy that we forgot about that was here on this team? The Tyler Boyd, too. The guy that sometimes he'll be that guy that saves you, and then most of the time he'll be the guy that you're like, why?
Well, I mean, you talk about a guy who balled out last week in Calvin Ridley with just 2 catches and 32 yards. I mean, we all thought that he was about to be the man, right? Like we
one of the 2 catches he had was pretty sick though.
Hey, sick catches don't win you fantasy games though, right? Especially when you drafting this guy and starting him and putting him in a number one.
But Calvin really wasn't drafted very high, right? He was drafted in like the 5th, 6th round. It wasn't barn burner by any means. So you can ride a little wave with Ridley. It wasn't like he was your 2nd round pick.
I'm not trying to ride no waves. I'm trying to win every game that I'm in.
Oh, well, the way that the NFL looks this year, the waves are the only option you get.
Man, I am definitely on a wave right now. But speaking of waves, man, we talked earlier and we talked about Trevor Lawrence being able to take that next step and elevate and put some guys in some classes that.
Because I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes and their numbers, and I mean, Patrick got some touchdowns on there at least, but everybody looks just lowly right now for quarterback play.
And that's the truth. And we move on to some more.
It's hard to watch.
To some more.
Unless you're Matt Stafford, apparently.
Quarterback. We move on to some more quarterback play. Ryan Tannehill, 20 for 24, 246. This guy is one of the most efficient quarterbacks that comes.
Efficient. So boring, but he is efficient.
Man, that comes to the league. But like you said, he's boring. And with 20 completions, only 246 yards, man. Like, most guys at 20 completions is lighting it up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, at least, you know.
Yeah, you'd probably be in the high 200s or low 3s.
Yeah.
So if you're taking shots downfield. But that's never been Tannehill's MO. And he did take 5 sacks. I'm surprised he even got the ball off at all. 5 sacks for a loss of 46. That means he was under pressure this game, you know. So for him to even be that accurate is pretty impressive. And then Derrick Henry, you know, he must be. I don't know if he's slowing down. I don't say he must be, but a little slow down, 25 or 80 yards and a touchdown. Not the best Derrick Henry form that you've seen. But that could be, again, the offensive line is not the offensive line that it's always been. It used to be a top 10 offensive line. They're not that anymore, and those sacks show it. So
yeah, I'm just not sure about Derrick Henry. I mean, it's week 2. You haven't really got a beat on him, so I can't say if he's this or if he's that. But
yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to just kind of see if, because he does take a while to get turned up too. So he's not the one who starts the season always fast. He usually in the middle of the season, he's the one that's like, everybody on the defense is worn down. Now my big buy is going to run you over. So, and then I picked up Joshua Kelly as a free agent, and I'm sure a lot of analysts have talked about picking up Joshua Kelly and using him this week, but he did not give you what you needed. 13 carries, 39 yards. Most of it came on one 15-yard run. So, let down there. Hopefully, Austin Eckler comes back, because he is a big spark for this offense, and I feel bad for Justin Herbert doing all he can. 27-41. A lot of people are throwing for 41 attempts. I don't know why this exactly 41 attempts, but for 305 and 2 touchdowns. So Justin Herbert's doing the best he can to be the hero, but the run game's not helping. The defense is clearly not helping, and Keenan Allen is trying to ride that hero train with Justin Herbert, being 8 for 111, 2 touchdowns on 10 targets. Mike Williams finally got involved, 8 for 83 on 13 targets. So they're trying to do what they can to make it happen through the air when the ground's not working, but that's not the recipe for winning actual football games. But as long as they stay competitive, we'll at least get the fantasy points, which is what we're here for. So
that is true. That is true. And if you look
2 touchdowns from Keenan Allen's awesome though. That's great.
If you're looking for some fantasy points for DeAndre Hopkins, I think it's about time to start thinking that he's a wide receiver 3, flex, or maybe even a bench guy.
Might be a 4.
Did you hear the last part? Maybe even a bench guy at this point. And for those of you who didn't know, it kind of flew over my head. I wasn't aware that Austin Eckler was out with an ankle injury this week. So Joshua Kelly did get the start, and he was. Yep. So, guys, something to think about out of this game is DeAndre Hopkins may be a 3 bench guy. He might be a 3 bench guy. Oh, here's a little exciting game. This game was really exciting to watch today. The Green Bay Packers versus the Atlanta Falcons.
Was a surprising one given Atlanta's performance on the receiving side before. And now to see the whole turnaround is kind of interesting to see them trust Desmond Ridder a little bit more on this one.
So I mean, it's easy when you take a deep shot to Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins came up with a big catch. He only had 3 for 60. 3 for 60. Drake London had a couple of good catches.
Well, they had 6 targets, so that's good. And 6 and 7 targets for a team that doesn't throw that often is pretty. You'll take that if they're the guys taking the majority of the target share.
Yeah, so. But you know what? Bijan Robinson carried him. He put a backpack on and said, "Everybody jump in here. I'll carry him."
Also had 5 targets.
I wasn't so sure that he was gonna be this way, but he is this way, and he's this, right? 19 carries, 124 yards, 5 targets, 4 catches for 48 yards. I mean, he was doing it all. The only thing he didn't do was score a touchdown.
Yep, but you'll take that. Tyler Algier did nothing with his carries, 16 for 48. So, yes, he's taking work away, but I think if Tyler Algier is this ineffective or inconsistent, I think that will go more towards Bijan, who's consistently proving that he can carry that load.
Well, you got to think about Cordell Patterson coming back. He just got cleared.
I don't think about
it.
Not with how good these two are. I barely even think about it.
Well, if Tyler Algier takes a step back, someone has to take a step up.
Yeah, well, that means he'll be eating from Algier's plate, which I'm fine with. So I don't care if he eats from Algier's plate.
Well, there's still Bijan's not going to get any more work than he has.
It's not going to get any less.
Okay, that's fair, and he's getting a ton of work right now. He's working it right now. So we talked earlier this week about somebody we should pick up, and one was AJ Dillon, and he just disappointed. Wasn't really good fantasy wise for you today. 15 for 55. I mean, no touchdowns. Didn't help Jordan Love at all.
No.
I was excited to see Jordan Love again in week 2, even though 14 of 25, 151 yards. He did have 3 TDs. I don't know how you get 3 TDs out of 151 yards.
He found some random people to throw to. I can't even say this one name. Dontavion Wicks, 2 for 40 and a touchdown, 4 targets, and then Jaden Reed, 4 for 37, 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. Like what?
Yeah, I mean
what?
I mean he wasn't
happening?
He wasn't that great throwing the ball, but he put them in a position to win. That defense held Atlanta down, and they just couldn't find a way to win the game.
Yep, they couldn't close it.
I just want to know what happens to Romeo Doubs when Christian Watson comes back if he has these other guys.
I think if Christian Watson comes in and stays healthy, he's going to push. If Doubs doesn't perform, which he did week 1, so we'll have to see. He's one of those ones where you can give a pass because week 1 he did perform. So maybe week 2 or maybe week 3, that he bounces back again. But if he has another dud performance and Watson comes back, man, he might go down to the 4th receiver. Or not 4th receiver, but the wide receiver 4 on your roster. So, which in most cases he was drafted lower than that, if not at that. I mean, you didn't pick up Romeo Doubs till 12th round, so you're not really crying about it, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't care.
I mean, that was kind of one of your hit or miss guys that you was thinking about moving on. Another hit or miss guy, and both these guys, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks and the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, are proving their worth this year, man. I mean, they've had some steady QB play, not nothing to knock your socks off, right? 28 for 35, 323 and 3 touchdowns and an interception for Jared Goff. That's better than what everyone else is doing. And Geno, 32 for 41. There's your 41 again.
See, I told you. We throw for 40.
328 and 2 TDs, right? I mean, like, that's kind of the upper echelon of what's going on right now.
It is. This was actually a good game if you had some fantasy players, whether you had quarterbacks from this game, running backs from this game. Receivers were okay for the most part. Tyler Lockett was very good.
Tyler Lockett, and so was Josh Reynolds, man. If you guys are looking for a wide receiver 3, flex or just someone to have on your bench, go look for Josh
Goff
Reynolds.
is throwing, so you gotta.
Josh Reynolds, 2 weeks in a row with a touchdown. He had five catches today, 66 yards and 2 TDs. I mean, he was doing his thing out there, man. I mean, for a number 2. I mean, go ahead, shout Amon-Ra out, man. He balled.
I'm just giving him his kudos where he deserves them because star-studded is always 6 for 102.
Hey, and he got somebody to support him and help him out when he
has somebody to take away some of the pressure. It's not going to be a too high on him or anything like that. They're going to be able to move the ball and not have a double coverage on Amon-Ra, which is good. David Montgomery also performed well, 16 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown, and 1 catch for 7 yards, which you'll take it. You'll take those points from that. But he did leave with an injury, so Jahmyr Gibbs time.
I thought it was Jahmyr Gibbs time before, but it clearly isn't. And I tell you one thing, watching David Montgomery over the years, he's tough as nails, man. I don't think he'll be out for too long.
No. It looks like it's just a thigh injury, hopefully a thigh bruise, which nothing broken, nothing dislocated. So that's best case scenario when you take in leg injuries. It's just get a bruise, heal up, ice, take all that, take your precautions, heal up David Montgomery, and then we'll see you back. So
the receivers for the Seahawks, DK, 6
PPR good,
6 for 75.
Yep, PPR good.
Tyler Lockett, 8 for 59 and 2 TDs. I really was thinking that we were gonna see more out of Jackson Smith and Jagba.
I haven't yet. I just don't. I mean, he's gotten 6 targets, which is awesome for a rookie, and 5 catches on those. But the way they're using him in the short yard stuff just doesn't give him that explosiveness. They're still using Lockett for that, right? So,
as he is the most explosive guy.
And he's sure-handed, right? He's been doing this for a while. Tyler Lockett's done it with the best and done it as the best. So that's just what it'll be right now for Smith and Jigba, but he'll get his time. He's talented. So.
Yeah. So big injury report, big injury report. Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
This guy better learn how to protect himself. He better learn how to do something because this is 2 weeks in a row that he's left the game.
And he just took a shot on his way to the end zone. He got to the end zone, but he took a
big one. Yeah. A big shot for no reason, right? For no reason.
Agreed.
He needs to learn how to stay healthy and protect himself. I like this Indianapolis Colts team as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he needs to stay on the field to keep learning. And I think with the way football is being played right now, man, if he can stay healthy and keep learning and keep progressing, they had a shot last week versus Jacksonville. They had a chance to win it with them starting his first game. I mean, no telling what's gonna happen with this team.
Yeah, as he improves with his throwing ability, like this could be something because his legs are doing work for Anthony Richardson. 335 for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns, like awesome, right? But he needs to be consistent in his throwing. Now he was on a good pace of 6 of 10 for 56 yards until obviously the injury, right? The concussion. So Gardner Minshew did a good job replacing him, just getting people involved and everything. No person really stood out. I mean, 8 for 53 for Pittman on 12 targets. Pittman is the guy, at least a wide receiver 2, I think. If he's going to be getting, 10 to 12 targets a game, like I'll take that all day. Sure, that leaves for great opportunity. There's just got to be a little more accuracy from both quarterbacks to really make him truly viable week in and week out. Now, there was a surprise performance here. Zach Moss, 18 for 88 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground. Pretty impressive from him. So if Jonathan Taylor comes back and stays, it'll probably push him to nothing, right? Because in 2 weeks, this could be nothing. But if Jonathan Taylor continues the trade request and wants to get out of Indianapolis, then Zach Moss could be a long-term guy. So something to keep in mind. So don't just drop Moss or don't let him go. Hold on to him throughout and hold on to him after Taylor comes back just to see what happens. Don't let him go, the week that Taylor comes back. So
Man, I tell you one thing about this Houston Texas team. They're not winning no games, but
competing now.
Man, this dude, Nico Collins, 7 catches for 146 yards, a TD. I think him and CJ Stroud, which CJ Stroud threw 47 times, right? That's
Let your young guys throw, though. I love that. Let him learn how to play the game at this level.
Second week in a row with 40-plus passes, 384 yards.
Let your guy learn from real game experience and then coach him up afterwards. There you go.
I like that, too. I like that. I mean, he threw the ball, and he threw it well. Yep. So,
against a good defense, too. I mean, he took 6 sacks, and that defense was getting at him.
So I would say this for sure. In a 2 QB league, I would start thinking about starting this guy. He's gonna play all the games, right? It's barring no injury. If he stays healthy, he's gonna play every game. And it looks like they are letting this guy throw the football. Yep. And no better way to get fantasy points than by doing a job and just throwing that ball.
Yep. Learn how to play the game at this level with this speed in real time. So that's awesome. And again, with all that work he was getting in the passing game, he got people involved. To your point, Nico Collins, Robert Woods even alive again, 6 for 74. Tank Dell, the rookie, 7 for 72 and a touchdown on 10 of those targets. Like, he's getting the guys involved. And even Dalton Schultz showed up at least for 4 for 34. 7 targets, though. Like, he's giving, if he's got that volume on him, he can connect a few more, people can eat.
Yeah.
This could be fantasy relevant. And even if you're playing in garbage time, like I said before,
doesn't matter if you win.
Doesn't matter if he wins, man. As long as he's throwing and putting those numbers up, it makes no difference if you win or lose. Because for fantasy, it works.
So here's somebody who hasn't been putting up great numbers. The Bears are now 0-2. Tampa with the win, 27-17. Tampa 2-0. Baker Mayfield, 26 of 34, 317, 1 TD. Connecting with my man Mike Evans, who has continued to put himself,
not talked about enough,
as one of the elite receivers of his time.
8 years of 1,000 yards.
9, I thought.
But this will be 9 if he gets it this year.
This will be 9?
9 in a row since his rookie season. Hasn't missed.
This guy is amazing. Yep. But then we go on the other side of Justin Fields, 16 for 29, 211. 2 interceptions, 1 TD.
Hey, he got DJ Moore work, 6 for 104. So
hey, that's great for DJ Moore.
Yep.
6 for 104. That's great for DJ Moore. But as a QB, and we just came from CJ Stroud talking about QBs, I would sit Justin Fields.
I would play CJ Stroud right now because in the garbage time, he's getting CJ Stroud's getting way more quality looks and opportunity where Fields hasn't figured it out yet. I still think he's going to get the 3,400 yards. I still think I have some faith in Fields, but he's really got to hold his mental in the pocket. He's really got to pull that last piece together.
I think he's looking too much to run the football.
He is.
And it's just like, you can't run it every time, dude. Just pass it.
You has to, because he started that early in his career. And it's the Sam Darnold effect where you're seeing ghosts. Your first thing is to just take off or go down, and he's got to get past those ghosts.
Khalil Herbert, man, didn't do too hot. 7 for 35.
The whole rushing attack is doo-doo.
I mean, it starts with Justin Fields, man. He just wants to run the ball, and it's just like, oh, let's run RPO so I can run it, but then I'm going to hand it to this guy to get smacked at the line of scrimmage.
And they have talent. I mean, Khalil Herbert and Roschon are both talented. Fields is obviously a talented rusher, but they need to put all those pieces together and figure out how to use the offensive line better. Because they're a bad offensive line. He took 6 sacks. Another person took 6. Your line is bad, and he's holding the ball a little too long. It's not all the line's fault, but they're not helping.
What about Chase Claypool? 3 catches for 36 and a TD.
Hey, at least he showed up after some reports of him, either being benched, cut, waived, whatever. Hey, good for you to keep your job.
Yeah. I still think
I actually like Chase Claypool. I just think he needs to get his mind right and everything, but I actually like Chase Claypool.
I still think he's a free agent guy. He wouldn't be on my roster.
I don't think he'd be on my fantasy roster, no. But I think if he were to be the guy that drafted him to be, we always say that in theory, but he actually is a very talented receiver overall. So
somebody who felt like they kind of earned their money today was the comeback win from Daniel Jones. 26,
one more thing before we leave the Tampa Bay game. We forgot about Rachaad White.
I didn't forget about him. I just skipped over him. He didn't knock my socks off.
Oh, man, 1773. Much better than he was before for a touchdown. And then he even got in the passing game 5 of 5 for 30. You'll take that, especially the PPR. Oh man, you definitely will take that.
He didn't.
We're not talking about lucky stocks, but we're talking about who performed, who put up numbers that can help you.
He
win.
put up some numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. He did. They gotta show me again. I mean, I'm not shouting him out.
Only second year, so
putting him nowhere until he does something else. I mean, but he did. I mean, the name of the game is what?
Hey man, put up points,
win up fantasy league.
Yep.
So you're right. He did it, man. He did it. And to put up points and win your fantasy league, Daniel Jones 26 to 37, 321.
Comeback king over here.
2 TDs, man, and 1 interception.
Man, they were down too, but Daniel Jones did not waver in this one. Holy cow, that man was helped put the team on his back and make it happen. It was all Cardinals in the first half, but the second half, nope. It was takeover time for New York.
Man, Jalen Hyatt, the rookie, 2 catches for 89 yards. Big one. He had a big catch for 58 yards in that comeback. So that's big. The Cardinals offense, man, is still looking stank.
Also, Darren Waller showed up 6 for 76. So
thank you, Darren Waller. Shout out to Darren Waller.
Yep. Yeah, hey man,
we'll put the cheers on for him.
Yeah, I'll take it. So,
do you have him on your fantasy team?
Yeah, the one I'm getting stomped in though. So nothing really bad. I started him. I'm still getting stomped. Don't matter. I was happy to see Waller healthy because Waller is a top tier talent when he is healthy. So that's why it's nice to see him because we need more of that top tier tight end talent out there, right? We need some people to take not necessarily dethrone Kelsey and those guys, but to elevate what is a tight end pool of quality of tight end pool right now.
Because there's only like 4.
Yeah, so we need more depth there. So that's why I like to see that.
Earlier I said stay away from the whole
Saquon, but and that's a big one. He left injured, so we gotta watch out for that because Saquon did do work 1763 for a touchdown, and then 6 for 29 and a touchdown on 7 targets. But again, left injured, so just keep an eye for Saquon Barkley and what that looks like.
Can he stay healthy? Is his question. But I was getting to what I said before. I would stay away from the whole Arizona Cardinals offense. And then I said that, and then James Conner with 23 for 106, man, and a TD. He was
even Josh Dobbs has been playing pretty well for a quarterback. If you're in a 2 QB league, like he's been pretty consistent.
He's been okay. I think that
I'm not saying elite by any means, but he's at least a good serviceable 3rd QB on the team or for your team. So in a 2 QB league,
I mean, in a 2 QB league, everyone has to have a bench quarterback. I mean, he's great for that.
I would start more with Trevor Lawrence this week.
I wouldn't.
By 6 points, say otherwise.
You talking about hindsight? You talking about seen it and you seen what the numbers were. But if we just saying, are you gonna start Trevor Lawrence or Josh Dobbs?
You gotta look back and be like, hey, you know what? He could be serviceable. It could be more than serviceable. Derek Carr, Zach Wilson. God. You think he's that much further away than those two?
Derek Carr? Yeah.
Zach Wilson?
No.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. That's funny. So, man, I'm on to the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams. Drum roll.
Hey, Puka.
Shout out to Puka Nuka.
Yeah, he's the real deal. He is actually the real deal.
Man, this guy had 20 targets. Who does he think he is?
It's like the new Devontae Adams out here. The rookie demanding 20 targets.
20 targets. He's the new. What is the guy that plays for them? Cooper Kupp. He's the new Cooper Kupp with 20 targets, 15 receptions, 147 yards. The only thing he did not do was get in the end zone. But this dude did everything else, man. He
darn near 30 points on just the yards and receptions in the PPR league alone, which is crazy. So
yeah, he lit it up today. He was big time today.
But Tutu Atwell wasn't bad, and 7 for 77, so that's 14.7 fantasy points in the PPR league. So you'll still take that. It's not a league killer by any means, and still very involved. Just not 20 targets involved. But Kyren Williams even had 6 catches, 48 yards, and 1 TD, and then 10 targets. Like that's crazy. And then he had also 14 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown there. So he seems to be the guy on the team. Clearly, Cam Akers with a healthy scratch, possible trade option too, which I don't know what they're gonna get from at this point. 7th round pick, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, an Uncrustable maybe. Nah, he's not Uncrustable worthy.
I was just gonna say Uncrustables are fire.
Uncrustables got way more value.
Yeah, Uncrustables are
got
fire.
More value than Cam Akers at this point. So.
Man, Matthew Stafford, he's the volume, man. 55 throws.
Yeah, I don't like the 307 on 50. This is where, to your point, this is bad number for me. 307 on 55 attempts, missing 21 of them. I mean, he's just lucky to connect it. Some people, he's just
Cooper Kupp's over there somewhere.
So he's got an arm, and he's still throwing the ball well as far as, like, for the most part, quality throws. But today was just a weird. I mean, the defense was in his face a lot because the 49ers defense is a nuisance. They are a nuisance. So, even though it doesn't show up for the sack totals, those pressures, they were there. So, I'm happy that he even hit what he hit with them coming at him.
How do you feel about Brock Purdy? You said, is he a good quarterback or just a game manager? 17 for 25?
I think he's a game manager. I just think that's where it's going to kind of be. I like Brock Purdy. I like what he can do. And I think he can beat Alex Smith, who, again, played well and got team to the AFC Championship, did all that stuff, right? So, but I think that's where that ends, You
don't think he's a Super Bowl talent with the talent around him?
I think with the talent around him, he is, but so was Peyton Manning in his last year, and he barely did anything for Denver, and they carried him to the win. So,
well, Brock Purdy's in a good situation. He can be carried by CMC.
Brock Purdy's more manageable than that at this point in his career, but like the Peyton Manning was at that point in his career. But I don't think he's gonna be the reason they win all the games. I guess is the point being. You know what I'm saying? I think he's gonna be the one that doesn't. I don't think he's gonna be the one that loses the games either. So.
Christian McCaffrey, 20 carries and 100.
He just wakes up and does this thing.
1 TD.
Yeah, he just wakes up and does this thing. This is just another day in the park for Christian McCaffrey.
Brandon Ayuk, 3 for 43.
Yeah, not the Ayuk you knew from last week, but still involved. Deebo Samuel, 663. So on 9 targets, the new leader of the targets this week. So that's going to probably be a constant rotation there. So it's going to be hard to trust any of the receivers from there. No one's going to be consistent, but you can just rely on Christian McCaffrey if you have him and call to win. But you still got to start those guys too, because the weeks they do hit, I mean, they're going to be beasting.
You talking about somebody not to trust. How long do you think before Zach Wilson loses that starting job?
I don't know. I don't think this is the game to put him on the scope because this Dallas defense is actually for real. This is a real deal, like, monster, super talented and competitive defense. Starts with Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, like.
But the guy was drafted number 2 overall to be a quarterback, franchise quarterback at that. Hey. And he's 12 for 27. 12!
Yeah, no, that's 12. Not good. And 3 interceptions.
12!
Again, this is not the game I'm going to get because Daniel Jones had a comeback victory this week against the Cardinals, but that smoked this last week by the Cowboys, right? So, if there's any game, I will wait till next week to see how the Jets do. But I think who they have, the Patriots, he's not going to do much better there. And the Chiefs after that. I don't know if I can start Zach Wilson. I don't know.
I don't know if the Jets can start Zach Wilson. Yeah. I think he loses his job.
I mean,
where's Mike White?
I don't even remember. Oh, he's in Miami right now as the backup to Tua.
Well, they lost out on that. I think they got to bring a veteran guy in, and the Zach Wilson experiment. I think they should try another.
Yeah, they should have a vet to help grow Zach Wilson. I agree with that. I just don't know who would be available to even help him right now. I heard some talks like Big Ben or something like that. I'm like
Matt Ryan,
yeah,
Carson Wentz,
Phillip Rivers, but it's like you're just gonna bring these guys in who haven't played in a while, throw them out here with their dad bods and let them get the
Matt Ryan just, 1 year removed. Not even a year. This is his first season removed.
Yeah. I mean, he looked removed last year, but
touche.
He looked pretty removed last year.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's a great point, actually.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. I mean, if not, at least have somebody decent come in and just kind of help mold the young mind and just keep his nerves down, because Aaron Rodgers is focusing on himself and Healy. He doesn't have time to be there focusing on Zach. So, anyway, we can talk about that forever, but the point is Garrett Wilson still viable? He was good today, 2 receptions, 83 yards, and a touchdown on 8 targets. But it's like, if those targets are worthless, then because Garrett Wilson did all the work on that catch.
Garrett Wilson has moved himself because of the quarterback play to a barely a number 2, but number 3. And it's not his fault. Like you said, he did all the work himself.
Yep.
The 8 targets he got, it was like my grandma was throwing them. You know what I mean? Like, he was open, but the balls were just so bad coming from Zach Wilson. And although you said that this Dallas Cowboys defense is for real, and I do believe they are for real.
Oh, they got talent. There's no argument that they have a lot of talent on them.
I just don't think that they're 10 points in 2 games good. I just don't think that they're 10 points in 2 games good.
I wouldn't say that they're 10 points in 2 games, but I think they're 20 under in for holding down teams in these games. I think unless it's a Kansas City, but even then, I think they can shut down Kansas City because Kansas City has not shown that their weapons can hold and sustain.
I think that Zach Wilson can't hold and sustain either. 3 interceptions. Just lost by 3 interceptions.
No.
But, on the flip side of it,
Dak.
CD and Dak, man, the tandem, they are riding through South Texas on Cowboys for sure. Cowboys and horses and everything because
they got it all going on.
Yeah, this just 11 for 143. CD Lamb was just the guy.
So this is the opposite of last week, where there's been a lot of high-end performances from the people that you expected to have high-end performances from. They may not be scoring, but they are getting volume, and that is excellent.
I like that CD Lamb has been CD Lamb. He has not shied away from any moment since he stepped his foot in the league. He's not Justin Jefferson-like, but he is definitely wide receiver 1 for sure.
Oh, yeah, he's the top-tier talent, and Dak Prescott is a good quarterback to be able to get him the rock. Again, you'd like to see more yards from Dak, but he's very efficient, 31 and 38, 255 and 2 touchdowns. That's what you'll take. You want that consistency at least, because that means that's opportunity for consistency for CeeDee Lamb.
Yes. Yep. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, we got some fun Washington, Denver to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it away. What'd you like from that?
Sam Howell. 299, 2 touchdowns on 27 of 39. A fairly decent performance from him. Was able to get Terry McLaurin involved and a score for 554 and a touchdown. Able to get some other people. He actually scattered it out pretty well. It wasn't just focused on one guy. He was getting everybody involved. Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, John Bates. He was getting people engaged in the offense, Diami Brown. So that was good to see him be able to spread the ball around and trust people. And then with that, the running attack was working with 887 or Brian Robinson and 2 touchdowns there. So I love Brian Robinson. I think that he's underappreciated in the league as far as the talent, just because of the team that he's on. But he's out there getting the work, and he's out there owning the backfield for rushes. It's not even close. And I think that leads for good fantasy opportunity. So, but Sam Howell was the one that impressed me. If he can build off this performance and this 2-0 start that they have, that's awesome. He just needs the confidence to play well and trust his receivers and trust himself and the coaching around him. Now, flip side, it's nice to see, Russ be able to cook a little bit. He's able to put some mac and cheese on the table today.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So he didn't bring the chicken with, but he brought some. He brought some mac and cheese.
Yep, 18 of 32. Not great by numbers, but 308. You'll take that because he took some shots downfield. 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. That's good because apparently Marvin Mims is the guy that he's throwing downfield to. Brandon Johnson, 2 names. I have no idea who these guys are, but they're getting the work. So they're getting some of the opportunity. Cortland Sutton's still the target leader. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 66 yards, but just no scores. So, Russ was able to get some people fed today.
Yeah, I was thoroughly pleased by Russ's play, especially coming off of last year and last week. It didn't look that great, but I don't think that he's gonna be an MVP or anything like that by the end of the year. But he definitely played really well today.
He even had 56 rushing yards, so which is the most on the team this week. So he's back to his running, which is impressive. So you'll take that for fantasy perspective.
He put his team in the best position to win. He did.
He wasn't the reason they lost this week. So
no, it wasn't. I would like to see him connect on some more passes. Probably get to 20.
Those could have been the
22 of 32 or something like that. But
I'd have to see drops. I'd like to see how many of these guys drop some passes.
Well, Cortland Sutton dropped a 2-point conversion to tie the game at the end of the game, and that's just disappointing. Mm-hmm. And speaking of just flat out being disappointed, man, who are your losers of the week, man? Who just did not perform like you thought they should have and or would have performed?
Trevor Lawrence. I thought he'd be able to compete a little bit more, get some more work to Calvin Ridley and other guys, which made those guys really a loser too. So by proxy, Ridley's also a loser for me. I would say Alexander Madison, for where people were drafting him, has been a loser for multiple weeks.
Man,
so that would be one I would definitely put up there too. Man, the whole receiving core for Kansas City, everybody's a loser on that one for having the best quarterback in the league. And Sky Moore had a good day today, but on what volume and what opportunity, so that's a big loss for me. So yeah, those guys, and I think those guys are my biggest losers, for sure. That I would expect to have done way better. Absolutely.
Well, I agree with you on Alexander Madison. He is just stinking it up, dude.
Oh, and Josh Kelly for the volume that he had, the opportunity.
Yeah,
he was a big loser. Even though you picked him up as a free agent, after last week's performance, you expected more from that. That's a big loser for me.
Man, Alexander, I'm gonna start with Alexander Madison. Man, I am so disappointed in him. I wasn't never a big fan. I thought they should have stayed with Dalvin Cook, but
opportunities should give you something.
8 carries for 28 yards to stink it up, man. I'm surprised you didn't have this guy on your list, and he's definitely on my list because I drafted him with my first round pick in several leagues. Yeah, AJ Brown, man.
I left him on the board for you because I knew you were already hurt.
Oh my God. 4 catches for 29 yards, back-to-back weeks of just being a bench guy, right? And it's hard to take a guy like AJ Brown,
Jamar Chase,
and to bench him with so much volume or so much stock put in him when you draft him in the first round. I also had Jamar Chase on my list too, 5 catches for 31 yards.
That's huge disappointment for another first round, second or third overall pick.
Yeah, it just bombs away, man. Like he's just, oh my God. And another guy that I had, Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne has not been who we thought he was gonna be.
Yeah, he's only been okay week 1 and nothing this week.
Yeah. So and a couple of honorable mention guys. Dameon Pierce, 15 carries for 31 yards.
Unhonorable mention.
You said unhonorable mention. Yeah, I was only going with a couple guys, but Dameon Pierce is on that list. Cam Akers is on that list. And one big one that I'm gonna leave it off with is George Kittle. 3 catches for 30 yards.
Pretty disappointing for the most part.
And I don't think it's his talent. I think it's just not enough balls to go around for Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey, let alone with having a guy like Brock Purdy who only manages the game. He's not going out there to win you the game with his arm. He's going out there to keep you relevant and for a big play to be made by somebody after a catch and run or after a broken tackle on a run, a jet sweep, or something like that through their system.
Yeah, I agree. So to have a positive note towards the end of this podcast here, who would you think was a surprise or a plus in their performances today? So, like, for me, it's Puka.
Puka Nuka. Dude is balling out of his mind right now. I had Puka as a winner for me. He is just flat out balling. Floor is yours. Go ahead.
Another one's Keenan Allen. I love seeing him get the work, getting the trust, playing at a high level, being in good physical condition to really be the Keenan Allen that when his early part of his career was going, that you could trust week in and week out to not normally get touchdowns, which this is a great bonus, but to get the volume.
Man, always 8 for 111, 2 TDs. I had Keenan Allen on my list as well, man. I am super happy to see this guy doing what he's doing. He's been kind of being hit with some hamstring injuries and stuff like that over the last couple of years.
He had a lacerated spleen or something.
Yeah, like he's just
that's so random that
all,
1 year. Like,
all over the place. But I'm excited that he's got the work as well.
For sure. And for me, it's also James Cook. He's getting the volume. He's getting the opportunity. And if they're winning in games, he's going to be the guy to close it out. He's the one that they're trusting to do the work and the opportunities. David Harris snuck one away from him at the goal line. Latavius Murray snuck one away from him. But I think as he gets more familiar, that changes and that dynamic really does shift. So James Cook's also a big winner for me, being able to perform at the way that he did.
I got TJ Hawkinson.
Yes.
6 catches, 66 yards, and 2 TDs. I mean, he was tight end 1 this week, man. Like, he really established himself. He's putting himself in that top echelon of tight ends, man. And like you were saying, I would hope someday, too, that we can grow this tight end thing to like a 10 tight ends. Yes. Like, that's kind of like, oh, man, these 10 tight ends are studs. Right now, it's you know, the Travis Kelce's of the world, the Mark Andrews, Kittle, who I had on my loser list because I don't think the volume is there because they don't have a quarterback to throw. But talent-wise, Kittle is there. A healthy Waller. And now TJ Hawkinson is kind of putting himself in there. That's 5. And then, like, where do you go from there? You know what I mean? So I got TJ Hawkinson, man. I was thoroughly pleased with TJ Hawkinson this week.
Yeah. Nope, I think we got some good people, and then we got your standing performances. You know, we already talked about JJ. You know,
you don't have anybody else on there?
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith?
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to be, if not a close, for sure a 1B, but could be the 1A. Honestly, he has been consistent on low volume and medium volume, and he just finds a way, man. He always finds a way. But there's other people that I like, too, for, like, quarterback. Like, C.J. Stroud was one for quarterback play. Anthony Richardson was, until he got hurt, he was on a great opportunity trajectory. There's Desmond Ridder actually played well today. Jordan Love played decent enough. Those 3 touchdowns. I would say because he is getting the touchdowns, that means he is closing those pieces, right? So he might not be – he's kind of like Ryan Tannehill, where a little less efficient but able to close the touchdowns and stuff when needed, so and available, right? So I think that's one thing where he can tell on low efficiency, that's not what we need, but on low efficiency and low numbers overall. So
well, I had a couple extra guys too. I'm gonna say Mike Evans. I didn't know what him and Baker Mayfield's connection would be like. Mike Evans came out and balled today. And then, although leaving the game hurt all the way around, Saquon Barkley, 17 carries for 63 yards, 6 catches, and 2 TDs to help them pull off that comeback win. Not only to help them pull off the comeback win, but to assert himself with some great numbers and fantasy points.
Yeah, I would say for 2 running backs, Swift and Robinson too. I just don't know what Swift's future is going to be if Gainwell can come back and be active because they do rotate. So I don't know what that's going to look like in the future. So I was just hesitant to say Swift, because I don't know what that future holds when Gainwell comes back, because he had a good week 1 performance. And then for Robinson, I knew that one was going to be good because he just had all the work in his hands. Everything is going through him on the run game as the first and second down back, and it showed here again with the 18 for what was it, 88 or whatever. So I'll take it. So
I know 87. We were trying to leave on a positive note, but I had to mention it, man, and I totally slipped my mind.
Go for it.
Josh Jacobs, man, to lead the league in rushing last year and a comeback for. He didn't have that great of a game last week, and then to follow it up with 9 carries for -2 yards. Mm-hmm. I mean, good night. That's a disappointment.
Yeah.
But as far as that, since we want to leave on a positive note, I will leave with Gabe Davis, man. 6 catches, 92 yards, 1 TD. He stepped up this week.
Yep.
That's it for me.
That's it for us. We'll see you guys next time. We out. Oh, classic like, subscribe, all that good stuff, notifications. Help
Legendary Sports Podcast.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yes.
Peace.
Later.